first, let's talk about one of the few gems from Marvel Phase 4 that somehow, was allowed to exist. I don't know how or why. It's I forget that I'm watching it on Disney Plus half the time because it's such a fascinating and unique tale of multiverse madness and craziness. Yet I don't feel lost at all. I don't know about you two, but I'm thoroughly enjoying the show. But Scogli, you said you weren't impressed with season 1. You said season 2 showed improvement. So why don't you go ahead and start?
I heard season 2 showed improvement.
Oh, you didn't catch up. Oh.
No. I heard season 2 showed improvement, and I did watch the first 2 episodes, and no.
Well, what's not doing it for you?
Well, I've never been kind of kosher with the Marvels, even back in the comics, like Marvel's take on Loki, just in general. The whole like I'm not a fan of the Thor movies. Like it's they took like my mythology and just right from the start, and just watching, like, I get people love Tom Hiddleston and this Loki character, but I'm watching it and I'm like, I don't know, it just doesn't click. It seems really wrong somehow.
Well, yeah, they exist outside the timeline, so it's a state of both being right and wrong at the same time.
I liked the guy in the Chinese guy that has like the time extractor thing. Like, he was funny. I got a kick out of him.
Ke Huy Quan?
I don't remember.
He's the dude from Goonies. He was Short Round.
Okay, yeah. He was great.
Obi.
Yeah. He was
okay.
Yeah,
I
knew there's something familiar about him, but I just couldn't.
That's Short Round.
He was great and by far the best thing from what I've seen so far.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'll keep watching it. I'll see what happens. I really don't like the Sylvie character. It's nothing to do with I just.
She's not. She's definitely being.
She's just not digging.
She's definitely being a bitch this season too. Like, I'm not. I liked her in season 1, and now I'm like, okay, you need to see reason again, and you're not. You're being emotional. Knock it off.
Yeah. So my thing is, I really didn't like. Yeah, I really didn't like season 1 until they got to, I think it was Journey into Mystery. When they wound up on the planet with, or the outside of time kind of thing, and we got to see all the variant Lokis.
Yeah.
Right? Because like Alligator Loki was kind of fun, right?
It was.
Like stuff like that was, original cartoon Loki or original comic book Loki was a lot of fun, right? These were good.
This Loki seems really weak and pitiful to me, and he kind of always has, like, especially in the Marvel movies, he's just like
post Avengers, he hasn't been the Loki that we like. I really loved his speeches in the Avengers movie. In the first Thor movie, he was solid. The second one, he was okay.
He seems really unsure of himself.
Yeah, like,
it's just like I don't know. He should be like calling the fucking shots.
Right, like he
should be manipulating everybody. He's just this bumbling fool as far as I can tell. But he should be turning the gears, manipulating this, that, like just like screwing everybody over and being an absolute mastermind. And he's just this. He's unsure of himself. His powers are unclear.
Yeah, that is a problem for Marvel in general. They never really settle on what power level of the MCU is. And of course, in the TVA, it seems that, everybody's neutralized, so to speak, or they're all the same. So because they've all got, the Infinity Stones as paperweights. It's like,
yeah, and I mean, like, I don't know, the whole Loki series for me has been a problem from jump. They've had some cool scenes, they've had some cool moments, like Frog Thor was dope, right? But it hasn't come together for me. And so far this second season, right? I mean, like, Oberos was an okay episode. Breaking Brad was an okay episode, but they haven't really gelled. It hasn't really come together. It hasn't really made me feel pathos for the core characters, right? I want to love Loki because he's this mastermind that is playing everyone against each other while he rises up the ladder of chaos.
Yeah, like he should be manipulating everybody just kind of by accident without even realizing he's really doing it, because he's just
because that's what he is.
Right? He should be just doing everything off the cuff, and it should all just fall into place into this brilliant plan, even though he kind of just did it all by accident. And just like making everybody like divide and conquer. Everybody should be fighting around him while he just kind of laughs in the background.
Yeah, like what people don't understand is, like, if you take a look, like, the one thing Marvel does do occasionally with Loki books is Loki should always be teaching through being a pain in the ass, right? Like, he manipulates people into learning lessons, whether they want to learn them or not, right?
Yeah.
He's the Coyote. He's Q. He's that kind of trickster deity that
is insanely powerful.
Right.
He's Odin, like he's OG, like as it gets. Like he's on par with Odin.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Right, but he doesn't put all of his eggs in one basket like any of the other gods do. He just kind of screws with everyone to get what he needs. And that's what's missing from the TV series, I think, at its fundamental core, is they've kind of betrayed the character. And because of that, we're not getting Loki, we're getting like
it's something completely else. And I can understand how people would be like, oh yeah, this is interesting, if they don't know like absolutely anything about like who this character actually is. It's
okay, but that's just it. We've already established that in this show he's not the original Lord Loki, and it's all even implied that the original Loki hasn't even been contacted or recognized yet in this show, and maybe they're keeping that way to try and be respectful to the lore, that it's just based off of the lore. And then on the other side of that, it's like the Loki that we know is somebody that was originally destined to be the Tom Hiddleston prime timeline Loki, which he now sees himself and even sees that that's not what he imagined himself as. That what you guys are talking about was a conversation was a realization that Loki even has when he's watching his other variant that's in the prime line, or the sacred timeline, that's what it's called, the sacred timeline, live out his days, and he gets killed, and then of course he finds out that that's in this particular universe that seems to be the outcome. So what I think we're seeing is possibly the establishment of the original lore Loki, but he's being built sort of in a backwards way. Like, he almost took the throne, and he almost reasoned his way to the throne. Sylvie just decided to act brash and quick and do what she did. As Daniel Larson points out, says that Sylvie is giving all the Marvel haters exact Karen vibes they want to mock the show. Exactly. She's intentionally written this way. She's not the strongest character. She's not the bestest ever who knows all. She really is a pain in the ass. Well, of course she is. She's a Loki variant. That's the point. So I haven't found any issue with it. I see well, first of all, it's a unique type of storytelling altogether. This is the type of multiverse story that still has a continuing progression forward that exists outside of the normal timeline, and yet we're taking characters and we're just taking them on different journeys. And from there, well, what's going to happen if Loki learns all the inner workings of the TVA and the sacred timeline, and then finds a way to actually defeat Kang and break the cycle? But of course, the answer is possibly putting him on the throne. At least that's where I think the story might be headed.
Well, and if that's where it heads, then there's a chance,
right?
But
every time I see anything in reference to Kang, I just groan. I'm just like, oh, Kang.
Yeah.
You've seen not the Multiverse of Madness,
Quantumania.
The Quantumania.
Yeah.
It's just like.
And then really quick to address Wasmata, who says, "What's up, fellas? Good to see TWB of course. Good to see you too, Wasmata. Hope you're doing well, considering your real life things that were going on." And then kind of like Thrawn in that respect. Yeah, I agree, because we need to see what Thrawn's going to be. That's why I'm saying let's just do Heir to the Empire, because I don't want to talk about Ahsoka. Go ahead.
All right. So there is a comic book like when they initially announced the Loki series. This is what I was actually hoping for. There is a comic book series called Loki, Agent of Asgard. And the basic premise of it is none of the Asgardian gods can actually die. They just get reincarnated pretty much immediately. But this Loki is still a kid. And he's decided that he wants to not be the Loki that history records, right? Like the Book of Fate records. So a deal is struck that if he does certain good deeds, that the higher ups have deemed him to do, then they will change his fate. So what he winds up doing is using his trickery, using his mischievousness, using his unique brand of madness to actually affect positive change, right? To right the wrongs that he has caused himself, right? That would have been a fantastic way for this to go forward, right? You could have done this, and it would have been really good if they had adapted that concept of the TVA brings him in, shows him all the terrible stuff he's done, and Loki goes, okay, he's going to do, and he goes, okay, I want to change my fate. I don't want to wind up being that guy. And they go, okay, here's what you have to do to get through that. And they let him go do it, and it's all like mischievous, screwed up stuff, like
shape-shifting. He needs to shape-shift.
Yeah, like
it's his fundamental ability.
Yeah, like, or shape-shifting, pretending to be other people, manipulating other people into doing what he's supposed to do while he sits back and eats a bunch of grapes. Stuff like that, which is like core hilarious Loki. Like, for example, I don't necessarily have a problem with
like
the concept.
They could be really really edgy with his shape-shifting.
Oh, yeah.
Really push the boundaries. It'd be really funny.
Oh, like 100%. There should absolutely be a scene where he turns into a horse, looks at some other horse, and you get little love bubbles, and then they shake it off and carry on.
He trusts off.
Yeah. Well, right, like you could do that, right? And it's Loki and it's funny, but like, for example, my issue with Sylvie is not that they included the character of a female Loki. My issue is that she's a blonde. She should not be a blonde.
Yeah, right? That's a big problem. Like, at least make her a bleach blonde. Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, I'd buy it if it was a bottle blonde, right?
Yeah.
Well, that leads to my other thing. Do you guys have any Rensselaer theories built up by chance? Like, who do you think Rensselaer is? Who? Because we're probably gonna find out Thursday. Because that.
I feel like it's gonna be somebody we already know. Like, I feel like it's gonna be somebody we've already met, that we're well aware of, that just has this alternate mode or identity.
Yeah, some of the theories out there that I've read think that Rensselaer is basically a female Kang, similarly as Sylvie's just a female Loki. I think that Rensselaer is something even more unique. I don't think she's just a female Kang. I think she's a twin sister variant. Meaning she only exists specifically in universes where Kang has a twin sister.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Like, I dig it. I would like to see... You know what also could be cool? And I was saying that this is how... Like, they shouldn't have done Kang being, like, the guy who's in charge of the timeline. It should have been a Loki variant. Right? Like, it should have been a Loki variant that was stuck there. That was just getting bored to tears and wanted another Loki to take it over. Right? I think
Which may still happen.
Yeah. Like, I think it'd be very funny if Rensselaer happened to be a Loki variant.
That
right?
could work too, actually. At least you'd be a Loki with dark hair at that point.
Right? Like, finally, right?
Yeah. No, that could work. Rensselaer is also a Loki. I like that too, actually. Yeah. Daniel Larson says, Corione, that sounds like that one Tom and Jerry cartoon where Tom has to be nice to Jerry to avoid hell.
Yeah, like, that's kind of the idea, right? Like, you know, but like, I do recommend reading the comic book run Loki, Agent of Asgard, because it is actually really good. Right?
Yeah. Daniel Larson says, guys, we know Rensselaer is Tron. Oops, wrong franchise. Well, actually, Daniel Larson, that could be it. That could be the big...
No! I've got it. Rensselaer? Rufus. From Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Oh.
Oh.
Of course.
George.
Of course. No. I've got it. Rensselaer is actually Ray's mom.
Yeah.
The best is ever. Oh, man.
Well, she could be a Loki variant if they like do the shifting element. It could look like anything.
Yeah,
but
like,
then she she shifted to like to look the way she does and doesn't know it because she's a variant that had her mind wiped as all the other variants that work for the TVA do. So that's why
actually
Loki...
that could explain why Sylvie has blonde hair though, actually.
Right.
I think about
See,
it. Yeah.
and that's the thing is that's why Loki doesn't know what he's doing. Nobody knows what they're doing. That's actually why I love this show is nobody knows who's pulling what strings. Even the frickin' clock, the rather
even the clock doesn't know what time it is.
Suggestive clock doesn't really know what's going on. So, yeah. Found some other fascinating discussions. People try to say, why does this clock make me think weird thoughts? Because she's voiced by Tara Strong. That's it. It's totally normal. Even gay guys and staunchly straight women develop some kind of crush on Tara Strong at one point or another. That's just... the way
it's natural.
She's got that voice, but also in real life, she is actually a really good humanitarian and a great person. Did a lot of cool things for U.S. military members who are also nerds, particularly Brodies. But you know, the point is, she was trying to help those guys be like, look, it's cool that you serve in the military and that you like a girl pony show, and it is. This flag says it is, so it's just not for me. But I respect the fact that it wasn't just that. There's a lot of other cool stuff. She's actually a really decent human being.
It's like liking Freddie Mercury, right? I mean, like, everybody's allowed to have a crush on Freddie Mercury.
Even straight guys, yes, have a crush on Freddie Mercury. It's perfectly natural. Exactly. That's a good example, Corione. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Daniel Larson says, yeah, because Mr. Majors would love to be Daisy Ridley's daddy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's I like this show a lot. I have a lot of fun with watching it, and I'm excited to see where it goes. It's only 6 episodes, but like I said, nobody really knows what's going on. It's a well done mystery box because, well, they have an ending planned and you can tell, and so the reveals, I felt very satisfied overall with the way that the story's progressed, and there's a lot of good narrative stuff, and I think that's probably what they are going to do with this story, is they're going to have Loki start to, as he figures it out, that's when we're going to see stuff probably change. I think Hiddleston has been giving just some of the best acting overall of his career. I didn't really care for Loki in the Avengers. I was never really a huge Loki fanboy. You know, he's the bad guy, all that. But man, is Tom just giving us some of the best, well, I guess Loki, but it's really a different Loki and a new character. We got just some of the best Tom Hiddleston being Tom Hiddleston, I guess you could say.
I'm just too close to the lore.
And that's a fair,
Yeah,
no,
and
that's
where I'm at
valid
too, right?
criticism. Like I can't, I got nothing to. All I can say is different timeline, and that's it. That's the only argument I have. Is it's not the original lore Loki, that, or we could call
Like
that what, Loki 1.
Like
Loki
Jotun
A.
is literally the bloodline of the Frost Giants,
Right?
Where Loki is from in my profile name.
Yeah. So
And it does not come. I do not name that from Marvel. People are like, oh, Marvel. I'm like, no.
No. Marvel is borrowing inspiration from the original lore. That's how that works. You know, just like Ahsoka borrowed some inspiration from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It's okay to do, but no, this is not. You're not gonna beat the original story. I don't know why someone doesn't just do that. I mean, it's all public domain.
They kind of did. Neil Gaiman did a book on Norse mythology.
Not
that is 100%.
I mean, like a Game of Thrones HBO show about the Norse
that book is awesome.
Yeah, like
it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is fleshed out so well. It's great. Really enjoyed that book.
Yeah. All right. If we have any more last second opinions on Loki, the TV series on Disney Plus, which has really nothing to do with actual Norse mythology, of course. It's a really cool original concept though. Like it's some weird
I'm trying to see that
universe, multiverse kind of crazy interdimensional madness, but it's not, that crappy movie. It's actually enjoyable. At least I enjoy it. Really dig the music. The music, I think, without it would definitely not help the show. It's because that really sets the tone for each scene and really just adds to the we smoked a lot of stuff to write this story, as you can tell, and you're gonna experience all of that. And that's why, I found as a storytelling, it's like I said, it's definitely set very far apart from the rest of Marvel Phase 4 because it's actually competent from a narrative perspective. And you can even just imagine, you don't have to call him Loki. You just call him somebody. You just say that's just Tom Hiddleston, because that's basically all it is. It's a new character. He's become a totally new character out of the circumstance. And that one, he was pulled out of his timeline, and two, well, he's a variant that exists as a paradox.
The way I kind of retconned it in my head is like the best way to explain it is, you remember Galaxy Quest?
Yeah.
Like the plot of Galaxy Quest? The Asgard of Marvel is like those guys from Galaxy Quest that watched the show and were like, oh no, we can totally be those guys.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
That's the only way I can justify this in my head. Right?
Yeah, we need that horse picture meme of the first half of the horse is the original Norse mythology, and then it's the crappy 2-year-old horse drawing and that's Marvel's version right there.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right.